still haven't recovered. Feel a little woozy.
I like the Minions movie.
I
I thought the music choice was nice.
I like the Minions.
I like the part where he smashes the guitar and you hear Purple Rain or whatever the fuck.
Purple Haze.
Yeah. The company that brought you Minions and Minions 2, The Rise of Gru. I'm Super Mario Brother.
How are you forgetting their magnum opus though?
Which one? There's so many.
The Lorax.
Oh, they did that too?
Yeah, they did the Lorax.
They didn't mention that during the trailer.
How did they not mention that? They mentioned the Grinch.
Yeah, they mentioned the fucking Grinch, which I don't think anybody's seen that I know of.
The Grinch is basically just Despicable Me 3, Halloween Christmas version.
Despicable Me 3, look at the big greeny me.
Despicable Tree.
It's just the Lorax.
Yeah, that's true. The one star was wearing a green suit.
You had such an adverse reaction. Well, not adverse, but like...
Intense.
Yeah, he had such an intense reaction to watching this in the theater. To the point, like, he was gasping while watching it. like a child. Like a 6-year-old child watching the fucking Lego Ninjago movie.
Lego Ninjago movie.
Yeah. Yes! Yeah! It's everything I wanted!
Daddy,
And
get
more.
me the set!
I want to see Jack Black sing about fucking a woman. In Generations, the term peach is used in reference to ass.
You see this thing I sent you on Twitter?
Asses.
There's somebody posted a thing on Twitter and it was
Man, that was a good movie.
it was you're 100% right. I was acting like a 6-year-old child, but like
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Don't even
no,
worry
I
about
remember
it.
being 6 years old and watching the original Mario movie with Dennis Hopper, the Blade Runner knockoff one, and I was gasping at that because I'm like, oh, it's Mario!
Pop quiz. What's Luigi's actor's name in that movie?
John Leguizamo.
Oh, you remembered it.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Bob Hopkins.
Bob
Hopkins.
Bob
Baran.
Bob Bomb Battlefield.
Bomberman.
You see Bob on Battlefield in there.
I'm 90% sure that was Bob on Battlefield.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Which is the one I have the biggest connection to. I have Super Mario 64 is the game I played the most growing as a kid because they re-released it for the DS with all those extra characters and shit. And my sister and I just played the shit out of that game. So a lot of that is stuff that I recognize, like the tail spin, that part where you were like, oh, he's spinning the lizard by his appendage.
I jumped up and I pointed at the screen and I said, "Everybody look!
Everybody shut up! He's doing it! It's real!"
I grabbed the person beside me, who wasn't you, by the way. I need to clarify this. And I shook the living shit out of him like a soda.
And all their insides spewed out.
They exploded.
They did so well, and I'm so shocked that they took it so seriously.
Oh, they integrated.
Because you look at fucking Minions and Despicable Me, that entire series, and it's just like they didn't turn Toad into minions. They're people. They live in a society, and like they have transportation, they have banks, they have ATMs, they have fucking everything, and it's awesome. It's like, I'm assuming because Shigeru Miyamoto had a heavy hand in this, sticking all his fingers in the pot for the better. And it's just like, I feel like this was the original idea, what it was meant to invoke the first time playing Mario. 100%. And it's just it's real. You can see it. This world, it has structure.
And it's got the structure that the games can't present, to the point where now I'm looking at this movie and being like, that's exactly how they live.
Yeah, I can no longer look at a Mario game the same way. Because now this is just how I imagine it.
No, and like they took a lot of cool things, like when they're going through the warp pipes and everything, when Mario and Luigi first get trapped down the warp pipe. Mm. That's taken from Super Mario 3D World, where you travel through different warp pipes to go to different worlds, but instead of it being a warp pipe, it's like this mystical tube.
Yeah.
Like a star path, which works with the level paths. And then you also have, like, when they're going around in the clear tubes, that's also Super Mario 3D World. That's what it actually looks like. And then when you go into the Toad's world, they have all the items and shit. All the maps are based off the SNES Super Mario World maps too.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a just a very. They literally took everything about the game and said, what you see in the game is exactly what's in the world. And they took different generations of the game and of the world, like 40 years of Mario, and put it into this multi-leveled mosaic collage of everything great, or should I say super.
Don't say that.
You rerun that?
Shut up. Get out.
Alright, I'll see you guys in the next episode. But no, it genuinely was like just crazy to see all the different things, like in the first like 15 minutes when they're in Brooklyn, and then when they're in Brooklyn, they're in the pizzeria when they first see their commercial, which is Punch Out Pizzeria, and they have all the characters from Punch Out. Bear Hugger, you've got photos of Piston Hondo and Bald Bull fighting, you've got Glass Joe, you've got Little Max Gear all around the place, and then they leave that shop.
I didn't catch that. I was surprised you mentioned that to me near the end. I was like, I didn't even realize.
They got all that.
It was a good catch.
And then
There's so many references. You did a good job. You watched it again before we started recording. I should have done that. I'm very ill prepared for this conversation.
no, that's okay. I'm also I grew up with my dad being a big retro gamer. So like, I have a Nintendo 64. I had a Super Nintendo. I played all those games. So I grew up with that stuff. And so when I started growing up, I wanted to collect a bunch of those things. So I just kind of enveloped myself in Nintendo with it being my first console. But then going back to the things, they also have Polar Pop, which is the bear from Ice Climbers. Later on, when they go to Brooklyn again in the final boss fight, which is weird to say in a Mario movie, they have the
Well, there's always a boss fight in
exactly,
a Mario game.
but it's super cool. It's like you get like those three. They battle Bowser 3 times. Peach freezes him once. They defeat him in the second. I guess technically there's the 2 parts, because there's the bullet. The Bomber Bill, which they changed the name of. It's technically a Bonsai Bill.
There's probably a good reason.
100%. Just saying the name, I'm like,
It immediately makes me uncomfortable. Just deep in my core.
But it was just genuinely cool seeing all these Nintendo references. You got the Star Fox R-Wing. You got him playing Kid Icarus. You got all the fucking posters of golf, of Pilot Wings, of all these different things. And then the fact that his dad, who is modeled after Talon, I believe, from Legend of Zelda, who is actually ironically modeled after Mario, is voiced by Charles Martinet. Which was really cool to have that thing, and to have the collection of Mario families, and then have Weird Al also be part of that family too. It's incredible.
I'm sorry, Weird Al?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The one cousin, the one uncle with the weird, like, fro. He looks like Weird Al. I'll show you.
Is he voiced by Weird Al?
No.
Well, okay. I think that, oh yeah. I think that after the first Super Mario Brothers movie came out with Bob Hopkins, whatever the fuck.
With Anthony Hopkins.
Bob Anthony Hopkins? It's Bob Hopkins.
It's Bob Hopkins.
Is that a hospital? I think that's a hospital.
No, non-Hodgkin's is a type of lymphoma cancer.
No, Bob Hopkins.
Bob
I
Hopkins.
think is a fucking...
I feel bad for saying this, but he's dead. He's not gonna be mad at us. We'll just skim
No,
over it
I'm
and add
just...
it in post.
I don't care. I wouldn't give a fuck if he was alive either. He was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You think I care about his opinion? He was in The Son of the Mask as Odin.
I forgot that movie even existed.
Yeah, I think about that movie every fucking day.
I
hate it.
I was gonna say, I feel so bad for you.
I feel like the original Super Mario Brothers movie kind of left the world blue-balled a little bit. Like
100%.
You've given us this promise of seeing a live-action Super Mario Brothers, and this beloved franchise even back then, and then you fumble so hard, and it's just we've been sitting here waiting for it to be redeemed for what, like 20, 30 years at this point, and it's just I feel at peace now that this movie's come out. Like, I feel like a wrong has been righted in the world. And I'm at peace.
You're 100% right, because that's how I feel too. Like, walking out of the theater, it was like I found that puzzle piece we've been searching for that was under the couch, and I slotted it in, and our 1,000 puzzle piece A 1,000-piece puzzle is finally solved.
Yeah.
And that's months of agony of it just sitting on the table. And it just... it scratches the itch of what it needed to be. The cartoons were phenomenal because it had the ability to work within the range of it being outrageous. For it to be live action, first off, already puts it at a limit.
Yeah, you're already working with a handicap. Or not a handicap.
No.
You're already working with... You know what I mean.
You're
already
fucked!
set to struggle if you're going from Mario straight to live action. And then you bring multiple dimensions and meteors and dinosaurs. They were dinosaurs. Why the fuck would you make them dinosaurs? When has Mario ever been about dinosaurs?
The Goombas always looked really weird to me. They look like the dude at the end of Beetlejuice.
Yeah, because they got the really big bodies and the tiny head.
The shrunken head.
It's like the opposite of a T-Rex.
And then...
Which is what the King Kong is, which just means, like, what the fuck?
And then, fun fact, the Yoshi animatronic can only move 64 ways. Like, they had, like, 64, like, abilities to move or some shit.
Yeah, and it had, like, several hundred feet of wire in it, I think.
It was awful.
And it was puppeteered by, like, 10 people.
It was awful.
And it was bad.
100%. So, just a little bit of a reminder, if you kind of lost here, do not watch the old Super Mario Bros. Movie. Take your children to the new Super Mario Bros.
Don't
movie.
go out to your local theater and ask to see Anthony Hopkins, because they'll tell you he's dead and you will cry. Instead, go see the new Mario movie with Chris Pratt, because he's alive and you can kick him if you don't like it.
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but Anthony Hopkins is still alive, my friend.
Oh, is he? I thought he died.
No, that's Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins. Yeah. Too many of these fucking old people sound the same.
Imagine if Anthony Hopkins played Mario.
If you see Anthony Hopkins, that son of a bitch, at your local theater,
You kick him in the shins.
kick him for me. Give him one on my behalf. And then take him to see the Mario movie.
And then tweet at us and we'll retweet you.
And nothing will happen after that.
No, you'll just get your little bit of fame. We'll be appreciated.
Yeah, your 5 minutes of fame from our 10 minutes of fame.
We'll appreciate you for it. It's called trickle down fameonomics.
Yeah, it's like a funnel. It starts small at the top, and then it gets wider at the end. So it's not a pyramid scheme.
It's a reverse funnel
It
scheme.
just so happens to be funnels are in the shape of a triangle. It spreads out as it gets closer to the bottom.
Wouldn't
that's
that
what I'm saying.
technically be a pyramid scheme then?
Shh. Don't tell them. They don't need to know. The best way to run a pyramid scheme is by not letting other people in the pyramids. And that's why it was so hard to explore Egypt and get to all the gold. Because it was at the top of the pyramid. And you start at the bottom of the pyramid.
That's why they don't want you running up to the top, because they
Yeah,
want you
because
running
you're
it.
going to ruin the economy. Not that it's not already ruined, but you don't want it to be worse.
If you rush to the top, you're gonna fall to the bottom, cause a big crash. That's how
Besides, the
economics
gold
work.
isn't there anymore. It was taken, and now it's in the British Museum. But back to Mario.
That was just us in the dry desert. A quick pit stop on our Mario Kart.
This is a
tour.
roller coaster of information.
Yeah, this is fun.
What else about Mario?
The
Let's end the recording here. We're done.
yeah, that's all you get to know about
Yeah,
Mario.
it was good. Go watch it. Go home.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil it. No spoilers for this one. But
No, there are spoilers.
there's tons of
We've
them.
already spoiled it.
But the
Put it at the beginning of the video. Spoilers for Super Mario Brothers.
Anthony Hopkins
Spoilers for Anthony Hopkins in Super Mario.
brothers, he's not
Yeah.
there.
Spoiler alert. Anthony Hopkins is not in this movie or the last one. Just realized. All right.
I did love the end credit when it said Anthony Hopkins will return? Question mark.
Anthony Hopkins will return as Odin in Marvel.
And Mari, and then the Mario.
It's so weird. Anthony Hopkins was Odin, and then what's his name? Bob Hoskins was Odin in
Oh,
Son of the
Hoskins.
Mask, and
I'm
now we're
starting to
getting
see
their
a-
names confused now.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah, these two men with similar name who both played Odin. What's going on there? Like, I don't know where to go with that theory beyond that, but I feel like that's too much of a coincidence.
We need to start building our wall with all the red strings and shit. Connecting it.
Build that wall.
I'm standing there with strings trying to connect, and you're just shouting at
Build that wall! Build that wall!
I'm trying. I'm working.
Get your
on it.
fucking scotch tape and build that wall!
I need more string. I need more
Where are
string.
the push pins?
Use the thumbtacks.
Use the force, Luke. Build that wall. Make Star Wars great again.
Mario really brings out the right leaning in us. It really is though.
It's because he's dressed in red and we hate communists.
I thought Republicans were red.
Do they hate communists?
Yeah.
Well, then they're hypocrites.
Zach, I think you just solved politics.
Not to get political.
No, but I think he did. I think he just...
Not to get political, but majority of American politicians are fucking scumbags, and we should all revert to communism in its purest form. Mario...
Can I just get a quick edit of you in a suit going, I'm for sure good. I approve this message. After do they hate communists? Yeah, they're hypocrites.
Well, they're red too.
Like a political.
If you're gonna identify yourself based off of the colors of the rainbow, then I don't think you're allowed to hate gay people. That's just my 2 cents on the matter.
It was just such a... No, you're 100% right. But it's just weird to get that. Where you got
How do we get
that.
from Mario to here?
It was Matt Pat. Blame Matt Pat.
We're very off track.
I like the fact that it's canonical.
Canonical.
Canonical that they
Bionicle Kongs.
They can.
Canonical. Sorry.
Where the fuck were you going?
I don't know.
It's
King Kong
You
Bionicles.
sounded so lost.
Or Donkey Kong Bionicles. Donkey Keonicles. Don Quixote.
Donkey Kong ate peyote, and that's how we got here.
Donkey Kong ate a coyote. He ate it, bit it in half. That's why his tie's all red.
Got the
Splattered in blood.
Got the Joe Rogan pulling up a photo of Donkey
He's got
Kong.
the Seth Rogen pulling up a photo of Donkey Kong.
Jesus Christ, I think I'll rip you to shreds. But no, they introduced go-karting canonically. And I'm just like, holy shit, I love the fact that...
Why it bothers me that Donkey Kong and Kong Island exists in the same world as Mario, like nearby. Like I never considered them within the same planet, even. Like they felt like 2 separate entities, and then they're just clashing together in this movie out of nowhere for me. It's just jarring. And why is it that the Kongs are the ones that have carts? What do they need that for? They swing. They're apes. They literally, like, I've played a lot of Donkey Kong 64, which I can see on the shelf from here. So you know I'm not lying. Like, I've never driven a cart in that game. I've fought ostriches, and I've never driven a cart in that game. I think there was an ostrich in there.
I'd like to interject real quick because you're right. But at the same time, in Donkey Kong Country, you ride various animals. So clearly the apes have evolved to ride
Clearly
things.
you don't own an air fryer.
Clearly you've never made an omelet. And then second, in Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, you ride around on jetpacks.
That's not a cart. That's a jetpack.
So for the Kongs to have the power...
He didn't have a coconut gun either.
And Grant Kirkhope didn't get the proper credits for the Donkey Kong route.
Kurt Cobain used a coconut gun. Gave him a coconut haircut. He went cocoa nuts.
Coco insane.
And then there's Kurt. He's dead. Kurt is dead.
But
the carts were really fascinating. Like, it's all... They've developed their society so well to the point that, like... all their fucking cart pieces are interchangeable. Like, it's like plug and play with their go-karts. And I think that's really cool. And all the references to like Mario Kart with the sliders and like that giant fucking A button
the
that they...
A button, which is just such a cool little touch that it literally, the best way to explain it is, we were talking about this a little while ago, is the best way to make something accessible is to, in the words of Zach Hadel, make sure nobody's left out of the joke. And there's a lot of things where they could have just been like, oh, look, it's Mario Kart. You've played Mario Kart, right? And it's just like extreme, but it works so well in the story that even the people who haven't played Mario Kart but know Mario are gonna be like, oh man, that was really cool. That's probably like Mario Kart. And it doesn't feel like it's just like, hey, look at this. You gotta look at this. You remember that, right?
It's a bunch of little things that don't necessarily require explanation, because a lot of this stuff, like, again, we've had Mario for the past 30 so years.
40 years, yeah.
It's so ingrained in pop culture, like I mentioned prior. It's so ingrained in everybody's mind. You're pretty much like, there's a few categories that falls under, like Star Wars, Mario, probably Marvel at this point. If you're born near those times, or after those times, you have like this innate knowledge of those things, even if you've never seen them before.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what helps it kind of, I can't think of the word. God damn it.
Invoke?
Appeal
Yeah.
to so many, it appeals to such a broad audience. And I think that's why. You don't need to have played every game to understand what's going on or to understand the references.
But if you have played those games and you're in on the references, it feels so rewarding to notice those things.
You can start looking past all the different layers to like even the smallest details, which you did a shit ton of during that movie. Like I could see you reacting to like every tiny little thing, and that was so fucking cool.
Yeah, because it's like you may not know, like people are gonna take their kids to see Mario, and their kids know Mario, but their parents know the stuff in Brooklyn, which is such a cool thing to consider. Like, and honestly, when I say parents, I'm thinking my parents who are now in their mid-40s. My parents are a little bit older, so they grew up with like NES Mario and whatnot. But like a lot of people our age are parents now too, but they grew up with a lot of like the Mario 64, Mario Sunshine.
Pretty much from like 64 up is what they grew up with. And that's still just like so much Mario.
That's a lot.
Because that's during the big console expansion where you got the 64, you got the Wii, you got the Wii U, you got the handhelds, you got the Game Boys.
You're forgetting the GameCube too, which is one of my personal favorite consoles of all time.
Super Mario Sunshine, one of the biggest fucking Mario games ever.
That very controversial, but one of my personal favorites, and it's just such a big thing that you have so much to work with that seeing that genuinely gives me hope. If Illumination were to do a Legend of Zelda movie or something, if they were to do a Zelda movie, I would genuinely have a good time with it.
Who did the Detective Pikachu movie?
I don't know, but they also were
like, who has the rights to Pokemon movies?
Pokemon Company, but let me check.
Isn't that owned by Nintendo?
They're a subsidiary, yeah.
Because they could probably just, like, eventually start doing, like, crossovers and shit. Like, I could see them doing a Smash Brothers spinoff.
Oh, 100%, because they already... If you literally watch them fight in the movie, they all do their Smash moveset.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen, like, even just, like, classic Mario movies, like the butt stomp and everything, ground pound, and, like, the punching and the jumping and the wall kicking, and it's just, like, it's all there. And it's just, like, so just naturally placed in there. Like, you don't even question it.
Yeah, like when Peach grabs Mario's hand and then fucking whips him, and when he breaks into the castle and shit, that's her grab and her up B when she kicks. So it literally works out perfectly. The only thing is I don't think Donkey Kong actually does that side kick that he does to Mario. I think that's actually Bowser's move. But I could be wrong. I don't remember. I don't main Donkey Kong. But even then though, like it's still such a cool thing to see those movesets. And then to even see when Luigi's like constantly talking about him being afraid and stuff like that. And then also for him to get sent to this place that looks like Luigi's mansion with the flashlight is so cool. It's just such a... They know exactly what they're catering towards too.
They knew exactly what they wanted to make, and then they made it.
And it genuinely feels like you can tell that Nintendo had their hands on it in the best way possible. They know how to make games accessible to people, and I honestly think they know how to make movies now.
Miyamoto locked everybody out of the editing room, and he's like, I'll do this myself. How the hell do you run editing software?
Fuck is a Da Vinci?
The fuck is a Sonic?
I love the fact that the one ape that they see is just a reskinned Smash variant of Donkey Kong, and he sounds like Patrick Warburton, and he caused a man to literally fucking die on his way to work. He's my favorite. He should have
You'd
been.
think they'd have laws about banana peels. Kongs don't kill Kongs. Banana peels kill Kongs.
He'll kill Kong.
Why would you let that happen when everybody's on a go-kart?
That's
You're like the biggest weakness of a go-kart is a banana peel, and you just leave that shit lying around.
It's like me
That
driving.
guy's a menace.
It's like me driving around with a landmine.
That guy's a fucking serial killer of the Kong world.
Honestly, though, seeing him made me kind of wish that Donkey Kong was voiced by Patrick Warburton.
Mm.
And it'd be such a good...
He could do one of the other Kongs. What's that?
Oh, he could do Funky.
Yeah.
Or Chunky. Whichever...
Chunky would probably be better.
Yeah, Chunky. I keep thinking... I get Funky and Chunky mixed up, which is odd.
They rhyme. It's
I wish
not that odd.
I wish they would have thrown Lanky Kong in there. That actually would have been kind of funny, just to have him be in the background.
Isn't he like an orangutan?
Yeah.
Weird.
Lanky Kong's my favorite. He's underrated.
I like Chunky.
Chunky's good.
I like his
dead.
little vest.
I love the Diddy design. I gotta say, I prefer him in
The jersey?
the tank top. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
vest.
like that. That was good.
The vest is cool, but the tank top is so much cooler. It fits him more.
Mm-hmm.
And then him just kind of like sitting there, just being Donkey Kong's hype man.
Well, he would.
No, 100%.
Of anybody else, he would.
100%. And then Dixie's looking at him like, you fucking idiot. Shut up. It's just like... And then I love also the fact that this is how Toad canonically became, like, Princess Peach's, like, superior Toad. And he's also the only one who doesn't have a hat that matches his coat. And it's...
Well, you gotta make him distinct, otherwise you lose him in the crowd.
Exactly.
He's unique.
He's the best
He's
one.
he's like an explorer of the Toads, because he actually has the pack and he's ready to like make a meal on the fly. Like, I'm pretty sure he just like wanders around, and that's just how he happened to run into Mario.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how that she's like a Toad brave enough to join me on my journeys. All right, you're in, and it's like yeah. And then in the next one, they're gonna have the whole gang together.
Oh, hey, a new meat shield. Great. You can block bullets.
I really hope that the next one they save Yoshi's Island or something like that. They do Donut Plains, but the Koopa Kids try to save Bowser.
Or even just an introduction of Bowser Jr. He's one of my favorite characters just because he's a little scrawny little thing.
I'd love to see them do Bowser Jr., the Koopa Kids, and then work on EGAD. Because then that way, the third movie, you could work in Bowser working together with King Boo, kidnapping Mario, and then having Luigi do like a Luigi's Mansion type movie.
I think we should take it slow.
Oh, 100%.
First. Like, don't immediately do all of that in one movie. That'd be a bit much. But like, spread it out over time.
Yeah, 2 movies.
Like, start simple.
You'd have have Bowser Jr., the kids, and then you'd have the mention of EGAD with like the paintbrush, and then you would meet him in the third one.
I still feel like that's a bit much setup. You can't rush into something like this. Every company that's tried to make a franchise that rushed into it always ended up failing.
No, and that's why this is what I would like to see, but at the same time though, seeing with what Nintendo did with this movie gives me hope for what they're going to do with the next ones, because it genuinely blew me away. I think this is a better movie than Sonic the Hedgehog. Not so much in that it was like more
obviously,
faithful,
Jesus.
but like
It was
100% more
100%.
faithful.
Yeah.
But it was more appealing. I watched it back-to-back days now, and I enjoyed it both times, and I'm gonna go and buy the collector's edition when it comes out on Blu-ray, because I'm obsessed with this fucking movie now. I love Sonic the Hedgehog, and I grew up with Sonic the Hedgehog too, but it didn't scratch that itch of seeing the Sonic the Hedgehog world. Now if they do Sonic Adventure, and Sonic Adventure 2, where you get Shadow, Metal Sonic, all that type of world building, 100%.
Mario did the opposite of Sonic even, where it's like, oh, Sonic comes to the real world, and it's like Mario goes to the Mario world? That's a weird turning around of fucking principles.
No, but that's also how
but
it
it
was.
Works.
It's how it was
Like,
originally too.
Yeah, what I mean is, like, normally it's, the video game character comes to the real life through weird means, but it's like, no, they're getting sucked into over there. Yeah. It's a reversing of the cliche.
Yeah, and it gives a fish out of water in a legitimate sense too. And I want to mention, I think that Mario's gonna get his own NES game, because after he saved Brooklyn, he's gonna get it because Kid Icarus has a game. So obviously something happened there. Either it's a reference just to it,
Yeah, but they did that in the first Mario movie.
Yeah, but I
I
don't
feel like that would be... I wouldn't like that.
it feel natural. I wouldn't care.
I don't think it would. You can't have Mario existing in this world alongside Nintendo and then Nintendo make a Mario game because that'd just be weird. This traumatic thing that happened to this man, let's just make a little funny little pixelated thing about it.
Well, technically, Mario Bros. 3 is just a it's a story stage play retelling.
I thought that was 2.
No, that's 3. 2 is a dream.
But 2 has the curtains in the menu.
Yeah, because that was a reference. Because it's technically not a Mario game. It's another game just reskinned as Mario.
Has one of my favorite musical pieces in it. That's the character select menu. It's just so upbeat and fun. It's bubbly.
Can that be our outro song?
It's just us singing that? Yeah, sure. I'll just put that at the end. I'm done. No more. You get that one segment and that's it.
Considering there's Jumpman and he's got a fucking game.
Yeah, he was playing Donkey Kong.
No, he's playing Jumpman.
Wasn't that game originally called Donkey Kong in the arcade?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. He's playing Donkey Kong in the pizza shop.
But technically, Donkey Kong didn't exist in that world.
But he's playing Donkey Kong. You can see it on the screen.
Yes.
It's literally what it is.
I know. But Donkey Kong doesn't exist in that
Then why is there Donkey Kong there, Riley?
Because Nintendo made it.
Because they're fucking idiots and they fucked up. You can't have Donkey Kong without Donkey Kong. That game shouldn't exist in that world.
That's why it's called Jumpman.
Okay, then what's throwing the barrels?
It's a Yeti.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. You either have it or you don't. You can't have Donkey Kong without Donkey Kong, otherwise there's no game.
Alright, on that note. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings with that.
You didn't. I'm just refusing to budge on this.
That's fine. We can change the subject if you'd like.
It's up to you, man. You're the one who watched the movie twice. You figure this shit out.
No, you know what? Just because I like your attitude, I'm gonna sit here and keep poking at you.
Go for it. See what happens. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm just gonna sit here and be stubborn about it because I refuse.
No, don't.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's okay. We'll avoid that one. But I also like the fact that the Luma was a nihilistic son of a bitch, because for them, their end is the beginning of the new galaxy. So they kind of embrace death.
I think you're reading too much into that.
No, that's exactly what it is, though.
Is it?
It is.
Or is it just because he's been imprisoned and just wants death as an escape?
No, it's just because children are psychopaths. That's the joke. But, like, it just kind of fits with Luma's, like, backstory. Because, like, there's literally a Luma's purpose in Mario Galaxy that you feed him a bunch of star bits and they
Yeah,
fucking
but where's he getting to get
explode.
the star bits from? He just wants to burn in the lava. He doesn't want to explode.
They just have a nihilistic tendency.
You can't make assumptions on that based off of one character that's been trapped in a dungeon for who knows how long.
That's true. You know, I'm sorry for yelling.
I think you are making too many assumptions based off of small details.
I think I just like this movie and I want to talk about it. Imagine if Miyamoto wrote everything down. He's like, this is exactly how that guy from Media Jam's going to predict all this, and the other fellow's going to laugh at him.
This is exactly what that guy's going to predict, and he's going to be wrong.
And then he writes everything I predict to be correct. He's just a son of a bitch.
I don't like making guesswork about the future of fucking franchises because they have their own plan, and if it starts off well, I always hate when fan bases are like, now you gotta do this, and this in the next movie. Like, fucking calm down, because this is how shit just gets turned to mush in their hands.
Oh, yeah.
When they try to pack this stuff in, and it just makes it lower in quality. Just do it. It doesn't have to have everything in it at once. You can just wait. It doesn't have to be everything.
Yeah.
Just give us what we need.
Yeah. No, I'm just, for me, I don't mean to interrupt. For me, it's like, I look at what fits naturally, and I hate the people who are like, if it's not this way, I'm gonna be upset, because it's like, shut up, you're not the one making it, and if you were to make it, it'd be garbage. You shoving the ideas down your throat. Don't make it doesn't make it easier to swallow. But to just be like, this would be a cool idea to have a couple characters and then this loose idea of what could string them all together or something like that. But I don't know.
I think this movie is literally just an interpretation of the first game. And if they make the next one an interpretation of another game, then that's fine. Just have it be that game. Don't have it be multiple games that you're all packing into one story, because then that just clutters everything up. it's less likely to be understood properly. That's all I mean.
I think the next one's either going to be Mario Bros 3 or Mario Bros World, because those are those are really interchangeable, I find. And if you're, especially because of the post-credits scene, they don't show Yoshi.
They show his egg.
They show his egg and you hear him. It's going to be one of those I think it's going to be Mario World because of that. And because you can kind of see Yoshi's Island and Donut Plains and whatnot. So I don't know. I'm just excited to see where it's going to go, because this movie really scratched the itch of what a Mario movie should be. And you said it best. They played it serious. They didn't lean into Mario dabbing, flossing, and they play LMFAO. But I would have been okay with LMFAO.
LMFAO.
Yeah. Party Rock Anthem.
What? Why would they have that in there?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Glad that they didn't.
No. What I said before, it wasn't LMFAO. It was My Life is Like a Video Game song.
I know, but I just wanted to say that one because people were making memes about it.
That song is so fucking old. Why would they have that? I mean, they did have some songs. They had Take On Me and Mr. Blue Sky, but they didn't overdo it.
No, Holding Out for a Hero, and then a couple others, but it was like...
They were well used.
Yeah, it wasn't annoying. I also like the soundtrack had like over 120 different like little motifs and references that just kind of work into the soundtrack, like a giant Siva Gunner medley. It's just incredible.
Circling back to the carts, what did you think about Rainbow Road?
It's actually a really fun way of doing it.
Were you disappointed that it wasn't in space?
No. I thought the way that they did it was so much better than it being in space, because it makes legitimate sense. You fly through a cloud, which activates as like some sort of portal, and then now you're on some rainbow fucking teleportation road. Like that's.
Is it teleportation, or was it just behind the fucking Kong Island?
I don't know.
Because I just assumed they drove off the edge and it just did a jump into like fog, and it's just the Rainbow Road is in the fog.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I thought that when you went into the cloud, it like kind of just like there was like a
Well, I just because you teleport with warp pipes and there was no pipe, so I'm just making.
Honestly,
assumption.
either or works out. I thought it was really cool. It didn't really bother me that it wasn't in space, because they did such a cool way of with the pretty much turning into Mad Max Fury Road. It was like, it felt natural for what they were gonna use it for.
I like the part where he takes the cart and he jumps off the edge. There's like a shortcut.
Yeah.
That was good.
Reference to the Mario Kart 64, which is nice. And then I'd love to see like a Mario Kart game where you just jump from cart to cart and defeat enemies like that. Such a fun way of like throwing in actual weapons, which gets referenced in the beginning when the reskinned Donkey Kong throws the banana peel. And then there's also the moment in the beginning of the movie when Luigi's pushing the mirror up against the wall with the water, which is exactly what he does at the end of the movie with the manhole cover.
Yeah, it's a callback.
Yeah, it's such a nice little tie together.
At the very end, the dog gives him that little nod.
The little nod of approval.
Yeah, the dog looks like the dog from Up.
Yeah, he also I thought he was gonna be the dog from Duck Hunt, but you can actually see the dog from Duck Hunt in a painting behind them when when the owners are walking up to the bathroom. It was definitely one of my favorite movies of the year, I'll say.
What about power-ups? What'd you think?
Made sense. Because I like the fact that you're basically invincible until you...
Yeah, you get the power and you take one hit and then you lose the power and then you're back to normal. Like, you don't take full damage, you just lose the power-up.
Yeah, you just lose the power-up, but then afterwards, then you get fucking destroyed. Then you actually start feeling it, which is such a nice little... And I also like the fact that they didn't go, oh, Mario died. He gets another level. It's really like, he just doesn't give the fuck up. It felt like
that's the point of the Mario games, anyways.
Exactly. It felt like a really good way to actually legitimately build character off a gimmick. So much better than how Sonic did the rings, I'll say.
Yeah, that was really weird.
I didn't like the fact that the rings teleport.
Yeah. And like he collects rings, but he literally collects them all in one go. And in the next movie, it's not even a fucking factor.
Yeah, he uses them for shits and giggles.
Mario movie did what the Sonic movie should have. They were true to the original form, to just a staggering degree.
You know, which is ironic considering the old advertisements that Sega does what Nintendo don't.
What?
That used to be an advertisement for the console wars, was Sega does what Nintendo don't.
That's terrible.
It is. Because Sega fucking sucked for a console company.
Yeah, and that's just confusing to try and say. That doesn't... It barely even makes any sense as a sentence.
But the Mario movie, best video game movie all time.
I don't know, Resident Evil wasn't bad.
Which ones?
All of them. They were all perfect in my eyes. No, they fucking suck.
A good thing you said that, because I was going to string you up by your toes on the deck. Let the neighborhood kids take pot shots at you. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up? Or are you,
They took out that fish scene.
Yeah. I was...
Big Bertha? Whatever that fish's name is?
Oh, it's just a cheap.
I'm pretty sure it has a name. Just look up Mario Big Bertha.
Mario Big Bertha. That might actually be Big Bertha, but I'm not too sure.
Because I know Big Bertha was in the original Mario movie. She was a big black lady in an orange, like, latex dress. It was really weird. Then she made out with Mario. Yeah, what? Was I right, or
Yeah,
you just...
you were right.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's just called a big cheap.
The small details, I think, is what made it great. The way you move around the Mushroom Kingdom, the way the turtle enemies function, of like when the King Bob-omb sat down in the pew and that one turtle got squished and he started just going back and forth in between them.
Yeah, which is a nice reference to the unlimited one-up glitch.
Yeah. Or just how turtles function in general.
Yeah, exactly. It's just such a cool little piece. Like...
And when you jump on an enemy, like when Toad jumped on that little thing at the beginning, like it didn't kill it, but it did like stun it. That would make more sense. And also Mario's mushroom, just the regular red mushroom, just makes him just bigger. Like it doesn't make him normal size from being short. It just upscales him a little bit.
Yeah, it makes him average, like Luigi's height.
Yeah.
I really like the Mario family. I've got to say.
That was weird. I wasn't expecting to see like a whole family. I wasn't sure exactly when it was first announced, this movie. I wasn't sure exactly how they were going to do it. If he was just going to be from the Mushroom Kingdom or somewhere else in that world, and it's just like, oh, Mushroom Kingdom happens to exist on Earth and we can go there from New York, but it's like literally traveling through dimensions, which is kind of like what they did in the first one, I guess. Less dinosaurs and meteor strikes, though.
I feel like you would honestly really enjoy the old Mario cartoons if you haven't seen those.
I haven't.
Because
I like you got a little bit of spaghetti on your overalls.
I've never watched a lot of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, but that one was good. The Super Mario Brothers 3 and the Super Mario World show cartoon were my fucking shit growing up. I had the Super Mario Bros. 3 on a CD. They had an episode with Milli Vanilli. Do you know who Milli Vanilli is?
I don't know who Milli Vanilli is.
They were a pop duo in the 70s and 80s.
Million Vanillion.
Yeah, and they were these guys who were big artists, and then they turned out to be frauds because they can't actually sing. They lip sync everything, so their ghostwriters got no money for anything. And it's funny just hearing Princess Toadstool going, "I want to go see Milli Vanilli." Princess, we're gonna go see Milli Vanilli. It's like, the fuck?
I don't know how long we've been recording for. 50 minutes.
50 minutes? You want to wrap this up?
Sure, Eddie, you want to wrap it up?
How many mushrooms? Real quick, I am kind of happy, but also a little upset that they didn't put the eyes on the mushrooms.
Yeah, that's true. I never realized that.
They don't put the
Did they put the eyes on the star?
They did, yes. The star.
We never talked about the star.
We didn't even talk about the star. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Just the power-up, like the invincibility star?
Yeah, they did the fire flower, they did the mini mushroom.
They did the regular mushroom and they did the ice flower.
Yeah, and they also referenced the cape and the tanuki. They did the tanuki flower as well.
Yeah, and the cat.
The cat suit, yeah.
There was a lot of power-ups, actually.
Yeah.
I think they only used every single one of them once, except the blue mushroom.
Blue mushroom was used at the end.
Yeah, to shrink Bowser.
Which is also
put him in the cum jar.
Yeah, it's a reference, not to 4chan, but to Super Mario Galaxy 2 when Bowser gets shrunken, and that's how he gets defeated. Not by using the mushroom, but he just gets shrunken.
But yeah, just the way he fucking tries to stomp them, and they're literally just standing there like, don't care, didn't ask.
Didn't ask, plus ratio, plus L, plus your IP address, and Bowser's like, ooh!
And they just tear ass through all of those fucking enemies. It's just like, oh, this feels so good.
I love the first...
Just watching them be Mario and Luigi, like using all the same moves and just kick ass.
Every action scene had at least like one take that took at least like 10 seconds for each shot. And it felt so cool, as if like you're actually playing the game and you're seeing this giant stretch. The first time when they were running through Brooklyn, that's a legit one-to-one recreation of World 1-to-1. World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros.
And I looked it up. You know the music they used over that? It's called World 1-1.
Yeah, and it's such a fucking. Actually, one cool thing was on that truck outside, you actually see Mr. Gamble watching his character perform.
I went on the YouTube channel and every single song, the name is like a reference to the game.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a reference to something happening in the movie, which normally songs that are composed for movies use. But like a bunch of them are references to games and stuff.
Yeah. I've been listening to the soundtrack ever since we got out, and like, then there's the one scene when they're running the training course and whatnot, which is really, really cool to see all those classic Mario like obstacles kind of get used and it feel natural. And then when they're fighting on the bridge, it feels like a literal Mario Kart sort of Mario Kart battle type deal. And then him fighting Donkey Kong feels like Smash Bros. And I also love at the end when Donkey Kong's about to fall over, the Donkey Kong game over. Everything just feels like a fucking nice hug.
It's comforting.
Exactly. And then at the end when they're fighting through all the bad guys with Donkey Kong and Mario, and Donkey Kong's got the fire flower and his tie turns white, and he gets like cufflinks too. Yeah,
and he gets gets frosted tips.
Yeah. It's such a cool design. Like, I would love to have. It legitimately I want to have Donkey Kong be playable in a Mario game, so he gets those power ups too. Because I feel like the designs would be awesome. And then just that final bit when they're fighting in Brooklyn with Mario and Luigi, and they're going through all the characters, all the bad guys, and you get like your fucking Thwomping Koopas and shit like that. Your big dudes, it's just like your big Hammer Bros. I legitimately loved it. My favorite part too was seeing Shy Guys and Sniff It, and seeing that Sniff It is actually just the leader of the Shy Guys. It just feels so cool. Everything about this movie, and then also the blue shell.
In the next one, I'd like to see references to Mario 64 with the different hats. Like the invisibility hat and like the metal Mario hat, all that.
You know what? They technically could, because they totally set it up in this one with the crazy cat place. So you could technically have that as like his sort of next level power ups. And because the movie ends with Mario and Luigi living in the Mushroom Kingdom now, the Toads could technically work with Mario to try and get something like that to happen.
How well do you think coffee beans would grow in Mushroom Kingdom soil?
Actually, technically, very well, because in one of the Mario RPG games, Egad sets up a coffee shop.
Well, I mean, it's all mushrooms and stuff, isn't it? Like perfectly fertilized. Does mushroom fertilize soil?
I don't know. We should ask Sonic the Hedgehog too.
Why would he know? Oh yeah, because mushrooms. That's probably different mushroom rules. Who knows what the physics of the Mario world are? They have floating bricks and stuff.
To be fair, though, the Mushroom Kingdom does kind of look similar to the mushroom.
Well, yeah.
Mushroom Planet.
Wasn't the Mushroom Planet just like a reference to Mario, anyways?
I feel like it would be, honestly. They send Robotnik to the Mushroom Kingdom, and he just wants to fucking leave. He just wants to leave.
Robotnik becomes Egad.
That's the
good ending.
That's the good ending.
Robotnik becomes Egad, starts helping out Mario.
In an alternate universe, I would love for that to happen. As an experiment turns him small.
Turn him into a little shriveled peanut man.
Little California Raisin Man.
The Michael Jackson California Raisin.
Yes.
All right, let's be done with this.
All right, what would you give this movie out of 5 power-ups?
I'd give it one big hug.
I'd give it Mario Bros 4.